The ANC will today brief the media on the party's manifesto plan to address the cost of living and, of course, to strengthen social security. For more on the story, let's now bring in SABC News economist reporter Katlego Legodi live at Luthuli House. Katlego, thank you so much for your time this morning. Katlego, perhaps before we talk about what is likely to transpire and to be discussed today, perhaps give us a view of what came out of that manifesto address by President, ANC President Cyril Ramaphosa, particularly as it pertains to just what is on the agenda today.
A very good morning to you, Unati, and to our viewers at home. Well, the ANC has been on a drive to really ensure that they transform the economy and create jobs, as that cost of living crisis is a reality to a lot of people, even those that are in the jobs market. So President Cyril Ramaphosa, remember, he presented that manifesto of the ANC going into the upcoming elections, outlining 6 priority areas that the ANC is going to be focusing on, just as somewhat of an intervention in ensuring that they win the hearts of South Africans. And really, when we look at it, we have seen a lot of marathon meetings by the NEC of the ANC to try by all means to make this a reality. This particular engagements, as you mentioned there, with the president and some of the ANC NEC members coming through at a time, Unati, when South Africa is really battling the workers, the labor force are struggling to make ends meet. So you can imagine the unemployed in terms of how they've been faring over time. But the ANC is saying that they've got a plan in their manifesto, and this plan would be to ensure that there's that growth of the economy of about 0.6% this year and 1.6% in the coming 3 years. And this was also outlined, Unati, by the finance minister Ino Godongwana in his budget speech, where he spoke about how then there's a need to bring about somewhat of a compact to help the citizens on the ground and the residents that have been struggling by all means to make ends meet. Well, we're coming to you at a time when the ANC has also just been going on the ground to outline some of the programs that they're going to be presenting here to close that gap and address the cost of living crisis. So today, we're expecting to see some of those NEC members continuing and giving us a sense of priority 3 of the ANC's manifesto, where it talks about the cost of living, and they have programs that they had said that they're going to be outlining and giving us a sense of how the ANC is going to tackle this cost of living crisis, because you can imagine that really no one is spared as we speak right now, and most of these people will be looking to the ANC as the governing party to bring about change in their lives. The ANC form part of what's happening there at NADLAC as government, together with the labor and of course as well as the private sector, to try by all means to close the gap. But often you would hear the blame laid squarely there at the feet of government to ensure that they bring about priority areas and they work on ensuring that there's a change in the lives of ordinary South Africans. So we'll be expecting to see NEC members, this being a Minister of Small Businesses, just coming through as well, Lindiwe Zulu, or Social Development, that is Lindiwe Zulu, who will be joined as well by Steve Litsike, who also be joining them here will be the ANC NEC, this being Zweli Mkhize. So we're expecting them to any moment from now, Unati, come through to give us a sense of how the ANC is going to make sure that these priority areas become a reality on the ground. Unati?
Quite a number of challenges for the ANC to unpack, particularly at this crucial time. So we are expecting, of course, that briefing at 10 o'clock. We'll be monitoring that. But I'm wondering, Katlego, especially because, as we go into the election, there's a lot of questions around, how our metros will be governed going forward. I'm wondering how much of what we saw last night in Ekurhuleni will be touched on by the ANC today. Those chaotic scenes that we saw breaking out between EFF members and we told ANC members in those chambers. Are you hearing anything at the moment in the sidelines?
Well, we're hoping that the ANC will give us some sort of clarity in terms of their reaction to what has been happening at metros. You know very well that the metros are closer to the people and residents on the ground, and what's happening there at local government level tends to have more or less tend to inform or give you a sense of what's happening there at the top. And I bet you the ANC is going to be condemning what happened there because a whole lot of other people and voices and different quotas saying that that is not how governors or people that are in the legislators should be behaving in that particular regard. But we don't really at this point in time or have an idea of what led or how that particular friction transpired there in Ekurhuleni, and we'll also be maybe putting it to the ANC to get a sense of how they are reacting to what is happening there, as we know very well that they also form part of a council, and they would want to ensure that whatever is happening economically gets meaning there at local government level, as we see them planning there at the top. So we'll put it to them and we'll get a sense of how they are reacting to what is happening here. But they've been talking about just here reflecting, Unati, on the past 30 years of their legacy, especially where the workers, where South Africans are concerned on the cost of living. And just yesterday, we were there at COSATU House hearing their alliance partner, this being COSATU, talking about how things have not been easier for the workers, and they were even calling for a government to ensure that going forward they prioritize and cushion the workers from the cost of living crisis. So we'll put it to them, Unati, and get a sense of how they are receiving some of these developments also at local government level.